This is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another much-anticipated episode of No Other Pod, a double victory playoff pod that's even sweeter because one of them came in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm Jimmy, along with my good buddy Dan, who I still don't think can believe what we witnessed over the last however many days. Dan, what is going on?
Playoff stash, bro. Drink it in.
Yeah, you
drink it in.
Now.
You can't shave it now. Everyone come in here, get a little nibble. It's good stuff.
Even if you film something, you're going to have to be like, I'm sorry, this is non-negotiable. It's not
Actually,
anymore.
I'm currently filming something for the next couple weeks, and the first filming day, I already had a mustache, so it's like, gotta stay.
Well, look at that strategy.
There you go. We're all in.
You shave it, you just got to be like, look, can I get a prosthetic upper lip? Because this thing's not coming off.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. I look like I got some pretty extreme takes on, I don't know, probably like meats and stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
You do. You look like you're straight off of like Barstool or the Pat McAfee show. That's the vibe you're giving with the hair and the mustache.
It's gonna have to go like after we win MLS Cup and all that. I'll have to because I lick it. I'll be licking it too much. I'm like, yeah. Tis the season. Your lips
save a little snack for later.
It's dumb. It's super dumb. Sometimes you get a little piece of hair in your mouth. It's ridiculous. You know how it is.
I don't know how it is. I can't grow one. I went to visit my brother Eddie in San Francisco this weekend for the USC Cal game, and I meant to shave before I left, forgot, so I had to go an extra 5 days, and I came back, and I can't grow like a thick beard. It just gets like there's enough that it gets annoying and like itchy, but not enough that like it ever gets past that phase, and it just looks terrible. So,
gotcha.
It's never happening for me.
It's just genes, right? I'm just having fun. I'm just being a silly Sally is what I'm doing because we're rolling, baby. We're just winning soccer games right and left. I don't know what's going on, but I'm having a hell of a time.
I mean, you look at what Sporting KC was since May, and there were some people, Taylor Twellman, who went into the playoffs and said, I wouldn't want to play Sporting KC right now.
That's right. Do we like Taylor Twellman?
It depends on the day.
Listen, I was listening to him last night, and I'm like, okay, the man's obviously knowledgeable about the sport. Like, you can't dispute that. But some things he says, I'm just like, I hate this man.
Sometimes he just needs to just calm down a little bit.
Yeah, but it's an energy, and I get that. You got to bring the energy so people will listen to you and have a good time.
I did enjoy, and we are going to talk about the San Jose game. We're not going to skip over that because that was a wild game. But I did enjoy the St. Louis fans who were in my mentions during the game. They're like, oh, these commentators are just in the bag for Sporting KC. They just hate St. Louis. And I was like, one of them is literally from St. Louis and put on a St. Louis City scarf on the field before our first game, which he then went to the booth and called. So do not tell me these are pro Kansas City commentators.
It's unreal. These people are just blindly tweeting into the abyss. They don't actually do their research about anything. Yeah. They just put it out there. They don't think about what it could mean. We're going to get that. Okay, don't jump the gun. St. Louis game happened, but another game did happen. We can't forget about that, man. I want to forget about it because I'm so excited.
Oh, it was. Well, look, I'm gonna be honest. We won that game against San Jose. We're gonna talk about that here in a second. I was a little sad that the schedule worked out the way it did because I was like, dang, we're not gonna be able. Even if we wanted to, I was going out of town. It just wasn't gonna work out to be able to get another episode out before the St. Louis game. And I was like, what if St. Louis doesn't go the way we want it to? Like we think we can win, but what if we don't? And then it kind of takes the wind out of the sails of the victory pot. Didn't have to worry about that. So looking forward. It's a fun episode. But let's go back in time a little bit.
Might have some new listeners here, by the way. Might have some new listeners. Welcome to the Crazy Show.
Welcome to No Other Pod. You're in for a ride. Woo. Let's travel back in time to Wednesday of last week, as far away as it was in our distant memories at this point. And let's think about when we welcomed the San Jose Earthquakes into Children's Mercy Park in what we didn't really think was a possibility 10 games into the season. Sporting Kansas City hosting a playoff game in the year of our Lord 2023. And sure, it's a little bit of a fool's gold home playoff game at the time because we're only hosting it because we're the 8th out of 9th seed. So it's a wild, but hey, you know what? We'll take it. And
it could be your last playoff game. Could be your last home game. It could be done here.
It could. If you didn't win, it was going to be the last home game. If you won, then you knew you would get at least, well, probably only one more because of the way the seeding worked out. But with the best of 3 series, you were going to get one more. But we talked about this last week. We were going into this San Jose game, and all of the metrics leading into the game indicated that this should be Sporting KC's game for the taking. San Jose hadn't won except one time since like 2006 at Children's Mercy Park. They had won 3 of their last 17 games. This where we said 2 teams going into opposite trajectories. And there was a little gamesmanship from Sporting Kansas City maybe with the injury report heading into the game, and then that lineup came out, and that was the lineup we've all grown to know and love.
No changes, really. I mean, Peter does that, like, oh, yeah, so-and-so's game time decision. And we're like, you liar. You so-and-so. Like, come on. We saw him out there, man. Alan Polito's game time decision, Johnny Russell game time decision. Okay, we'll see about that.
Yeah. It was Johnny. It was Alan. I think it was maybe Jake Davis, Eric Tommy. They were all listed as questionable. They're all sore. They're all game time decisions. I don't know. We'll see if they can go. And you knew Johnny wasn't going to not play in this do or die playoff game. There just wasn't a chance in hell.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm so glad I reached out to you to see if it was going to rain later that night. I know you're the weather guy. I noticed people up in your mentions checking on you, making sure you could give us the full report. So thank you. It
was funny. I was sitting there at work on Wednesday, and I don't think anything of it. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to this playoff game that starts too late on a Wednesday night, but somehow not as late as the game on Sunday night. And I'm sitting there, and like I knew it was raining, but I had a number of people on Twitter and a number of people in my personal life texting me, being like, "Is this game going to happen? Is it going to get canceled?" And I was like, "What am I missing?" Like, yeah, it's raining a little outside, but like, what am I? And it didn't even end up raining during the match, really. Like, I might have missed it just a little bit, but any lightning that was supposed to come through was long gone. The rain, I mean, it poured earlier in the day, but it was long gone.
Do you know that we all have personal access in your fingertips to a radar? Like, you can go to your weather app, pull up the radar, and you could do like the predictive radar, right? And it showed like, okay, there was going to be a little rain leading up to kickoff right over Children's Mercy Park, and then clear the whole night, and that's what happened.
And that's what I was watching as it got. I mean, you look at it in the morning, and you're like, yeah, things could change, 12 hours from now. But as it got closer, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I'm watching the radar, and I'm like, okay, we're going to be in the clear, so we're probably going to be fine. And it was.
This goes hand in hand. I'm just throwing shade at people that don't check weather and check with their friends. It goes hand in hand with people who like ask for recommendations on Facebook and stuff when they could just Google.
Well, that one's not what gets me as much as when people tweet like, "Hey, what's the score to the Manchester United game?" I'm like,
that's a thing
called Google.
Oh my God, dude! There's Google, there's apps, ESPN. Oh my God, everything's at our fingertips. We shouldn't even have to talk to human beings.
But hey, you know what? I was happy to answer the questions I got. Look,
just happy to have friends, bro.
Well, that's true. Man, sometimes in your 30s, making friends is hard.
Man. How do you?
I was happy to let people know, hey, you know what? This game's going to go on. There was no time to reschedule it, even with weather. It would have been weird if they had to reschedule it.
Right.
But we get there, you look at the lineup, and you're like, okay, we might be able to do this. Christian Espinoza, he was the key player that we had to key in on and stop.
Yeah.
Jeremy Abobasi, keep an eye out for him. As long as we can keep them off the score sheet, we're looking pretty good. And I will say, obviously the game ended regulation 0-0. I would say that Sporting KC was probably the more dominant side throughout the game. If you look at possession, Sporting KC had 60% possession to 40 shots, 18-5. I believe San Jose had 0 shots in the entire first half. 4 shots on goal for Sporting to 0 for San Jose. So, I mean, this was a game that was there for Sporting KC's taking throughout regulation, but San Jose kind of started the time wasting early on, and it felt like one of those games going to a shootout.
What was their game plan? Did they forget that this wasn't a one-off? Were they like, yeah, this is that best of 3 series everyone's been talking about? And we're like, no, it's not. You have to win too. What are you doing?
It felt weird. I mean, you have arguably the best goalkeeper in the history of MLS penalty shootouts. Statistically, I think he is the best in the history of MLS penalty shootouts. He's now 7-0 in penalty shootouts in his career. But it was like 3 or 4 minutes in where they were already slowing down the pace, and it felt like they were just playing to get to penalties. And I didn't think that was their best strategy to win this game. Their best strategy might have been to let Sporting have the possession, try to counter and steal a quick one. But they didn't even really do that all that much.
Well, do we take that as a serious compliment? Like, who the hell do they think we are? That we're just going to like steamroll them? Because we've had a rough season, guys.
Yeah, and you know, Sporting has had in the Western Conference the most points, most goals, most wins since May. So
true.
Part of me gets it, but they didn't test Amelia at all in the first half. He was just back there lonely. If you look at possession intervals, I mean, all but one 5-minute interval in the first half was heavy Sporting Kansas City. And you look at the passing network for Sporting Kansas City on MLSsoccer.com, they have like the passing chalkboards. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players who are primarily in the attacking half for the game. The only players that weren't was Radoya, the 2 center backs, and Tim Melia. And if you look at San Jose, they had 2 players primarily in the attacking half for the entire game. So this was very much a game of San Jose is going to hang back, and I guess they're just going to take their 60-40 chances that Tim Melia gives them in a penalty shootout. It was weird.
Yeah. I mean, that's essentially what happened, man. You know, the home crowd wasn't quite a sellout. Midweek game is always kind of hard anyways. And my first impressions of this thing, man, just coming into it, I was like, okay, hey, same lineup as that got it done on decision day. You know, here we go. We should get some goals here. I did not expect this to go to penalties. In San Jose, if their game plan was to muck it up, they did exactly that, and that was frustrating for everyone.
Yeah, it was. It was, it was frustrating because as it got closer to the 70th minute, 75th, 80th minute, you start to feel like, yeah, this one's going to go to penalties. And I was pretty confident that if it did get to penalties, that we were going to be okay because Tim Melia is so successful.
Still scary.
But it's still scary. It's still even if he saves 60% of the penalties, which is much higher, 40% of the penalties, which is much higher than the 20% save rate most keepers have. I mean, that's still, dude, I don't know. It's tough.
Tim did not have to put his hands on a shot until penalties. Like there were no saves in the game, no shots on goal for him. And then his first, foray into the game was a penalty shot stop. Like the man just eats freaking ice chips, dude. He's cold as ice.
Well, what's wild is I talked to Daniel after the game. Daniel obviously ended up hitting the ceiling penalty kick, but I was like, what?
I thought you meant the goalkeeper. You're
not
first
that
name
dude,
basis.
no.
You're on first name basis with Shallowy over here. I get it.
And Daniel Shallowy. I forgot their other keeper's named Daniel. Daniel's no Daniels. Cauldron was letting him have it too.
Oh,
at one point where they were saying, "Hey, Daniel, your mom says hi." I think they were just chanting over and over again.
Nice.
But Daniel Shallowy, I was asking him, what's it like to have a player like Tim Melia in goal going into penalties? And he was like, "That dude's insane." He was like, "We gather up for our huddle before we're about to start. Tim Melia, the goalkeeper, goes all the pressure in the world on him, looks around to his teammates and goes, 'Let's have some fun,' and then runs off to go be a hero."
Man, you can't take it too seriously, dude. It's a job, right? Get in there, do your best. Let's have some fun.
Mm-hmm. And Johnny stepped up.
On a shirt, bro.
Oh my God. Johnny stepped up and buried the first one. And then Christian Espinoza, their most important player, he steps up. And I think this honestly set the tone for the rest of the shootout. Johnny buries his, and then Christian Espinoza gets stuffed by Tim Melia. It was at that point where I was like, okay,
here we go.
This is it. This is it.
But then you got your multi-million-dollar striker coming up who's like, should totally be 100%. And you're like, this is no problem. Life's good.
Polito. Yeah. He's the guy. I mean, he takes our penalties in regular games. It's him.
Not anymore.
Well, what sucks is there was an idea there. He's done this type of thing before, but Daniel, the goalkeeper, did just enough research that he was able to stop himself because I think Polito was just a little too slow. If he would have just fired that thing a little harder, I don't think Daniel would have got a toe to it, but he didn't. So,
yeah. And in a regular game, I think it's fair to say Polito gets his rebound and puts it away again. But that is the second time that we've seen his penalty blocked in a couple weeks, right?
That's true, because he did have a penalty blocked and he was able to get the rebound in the live game. But you're right. That is true.
It says something, man. And I'm like, I don't know if Allen is our main penalty taker, by the way. If we need someone to take penalties, I think Johnny probably steps in there.
I think they've gone back and forth, yeah.
Yeah. But I know Johnny's been hurt. Allen's taking it, blah, blah, blah. Or Johnny subbed out, But it's just, gosh, shouldn't you expect that man to just convert easily?
100%. 100%.
I mean,
and he would tell you as much too.
Right. I mean, you also expect Jackson Ewell to make his, and he sent his into the parking lot.
Well, and that's the thing, and I think that's the Timelia effect, because he just saw Christian Espinoza get stuffed trying to go low into the corner, and it wasn't a bad take that Espinoza had. And so Ewell's like, okay, if I'm going to get this past Tim, I got to send this upper 90. He thought he was kicking a field goal.
Dude, this is a roller coaster of emotions, though, because when Espinoza gets saved, you're like, oh, hell yeah. And then Polito misses, and you're like, shit, man, we're tied up.
Back to square one.
And then Ewell skied it. You're like, oh, God, I'm back to where I was. Like, it was Rally Town night, bro.
It was Rally Town.
I was flicking that thing up. I mean, it was crazy.
And then Tommy steps up. He's calm. He's cool. He's collected. And at this point, it's just make the rest of your penalties. This guy named Skahan steps up for San Jose. And let me tell you, Tim almost saved this dude's penalty. He had a hand to it.
That pissed me off. Probably pissed him off too, man.
For sure. Even Peter was like, yeah, Tim should have got that one. It just got under him a little bit because he dove the right way. His hands were just a little too high.
Terrible. Oh, God. You knew that ends earlier, right? Daniel doesn't have, Shallowy doesn't have to go win that game.
Yep.
That game
he saves that
with
one.
Gotti.
He saves that one. Gotti puts it away. It's game over. And then Tim would be back to, it would be almost a perfect penalty shootout. It wouldn't be perfect for Tim, but
exactly.
Then Gotti steps up, and Gotti just fires this thing like a laser into the bottom right corner. So he does that. San Jose, Acapo, he scores his last one. He just kind of trickles it in. But all that matters at this point, Daniel Shallowy stepping up, and if he puts it away, he sends Sporting KC through. And this dude, to quote Johnny, could not have taken a more perfect penalty kick. It took some serious cojones to get up there and try to send that one into the upper 90 the way he did. And he did it.
90.
And do you see what he said? The first thing he said after he scored?
No.
He runs over. He starts running to celebrate. Then he turns around, finds Tim Melia, points to him, grabs him. And if you read his lips as he's running back to his teammates, he's pointing at Tim. He goes, this fucking guy. This fucking guy. It was so much fun.
Amazing. And they had fun. And I'm glad, from a fan standpoint, we didn't have to sit out there all night through a couple of extra times,
100%.
But also they just played Saturday, and now you're going to have to play extra time on a Wednesday and then go maybe play extra time on Sunday. Like, I'm really enjoying the lack of extra time until the conference semis. So
yes,
it's been nice.
So it was great. I mean, Peter had nothing but great things to say about Tim. He goes, I think he's the best I've ever been around as a player and a coach in regards to penalty kicks, which he's been around some good people. And it was so much fun to watch the players.
We didn't foul for shit in this game either, bro. Mm-hmm. They had 12 fouls. We had 3. And I'm surprised they only had 3 yellows, to be honest.
Yeah. It was pretty fun. It was awesome. And all the media wanted to talk to Tim after. And this is just the type of guy that Tim is. We're over there talking about the penalties. And he goes, I don't know why you're here talking to me. You should be talking to our back line over there. They're the ones that made this game the way it was. They were the ones that kept the ball away from me all night. I'm not the hero here. Go talk to them. So it was pretty cool. Everybody was having a great time. Roger was throwing socks at Daniel Shallowy from across the room as he was doing his interviews, and it's just fun after a win.
It was Roger's birthday, Roger's birthday on Wednesday, so that's very cool. And he got in towards the end of the game. Probably to also step in there and take a penalty.
Yeah.
Didn't have to, thankfully, but just really positive game. Not getting on the scoreboard, it sucks. You wish you could have got it done in regular time, save everyone the emotional and mental stress. But at the end of the day, you're moving forward and you're looking ahead at some mega giants with St. Louis City, man.
Yeah, and even though it wasn't a full sellout, the crowd was super loud every single time one of the San Jose players stepped up to take a kick.
Absolutely. I went into work the next day with a little rasp.
Yeah. Peter even called out the towels. He was like, I'm very happy the way they showed up and they had the towels and it was awesome.
See? We need more towels. Next Sunday.
More towels. Sorry, Daniel said that. Daniel also said, I heard Patrick Mahomes was in the stadium, so I expect him to come back here.
Not going to happen.
They'll be in Germany, so it'll be a little hard to go from Germany that morning all the way back to Kansas City for the game that night.
Awesome that he even came out there on a Wednesday night.
Sure.
I mean, just you don't see the owners come out on a Wednesday night. Not very often.
Maybe that's where he caught the flu. It's outside in the cold and the rain.
Maybe so, man. Then Broncos out here whooping our ass. What a terrible time.
It's okay.
Yes, KU got the win. Chiefs about ruined my Sunday until they didn't.
It was
call an ambulance, but not for me.
So we got the win. We're moving on, and then we're traveling to face the mighty St. Louis City SC. Let's take a quick break before we come back to talk about that game, and then we'll break down what happened. So we'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
Bro, let me tell you, this is the season where TVs get bogged down with multiple sports.
Oh, yeah.
You got college basketball season kicking off.
Mm-hmm.
You got college football in the thick of things, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone pushing for that bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs are in the middle of their season. Sporting's in the playoffs.
NBA started.
NHL started. World Series wrapping up. It's a crazy time, man. And it's I don't know. It's emotional at times too, right? Especially when half your teams win and half lose. So
yeah. On the night that we're recording this, it's called the Sports Equinox because all professional sports are all playing at the same time. You got big World Series games going on. You got MLS playoffs going on. There's an NFL football game going on. There's NBA games going on. And there's NHL games going on all at the same time.
Someone called it an equinox? Like, is that really?
That's the phrase. It's the sports equinox where it all like lines up together.
Wow.
So
that's fun.
The more you know.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, all I know is that I'm thinking I'm at an improv workshop last night, Sunday. And, it got over about 9. I'm heading home, and I'm like, dude.
Good thing our game hadn't started yet.
Exactly. I was like, well, our game starts at 9:25. I can get home in 15 minutes. And I'm like, damn, I got another 2 hours probably watching us lose to 4-1. I mean, someone call an ambulance, but not for us. I'm just telling you, man, it was the most glorious evening in a long time. I couldn't go to bed. I kept talking while my wife was trying to sleep. I was like talking about the game and shit like a dork.
I was awake tweeting about, all the stuff that St. Louis fans, but, I was all about the Bants. You keep saying call an ambulance, but not for us. The meme it reminds me of is when Kevin Nash rolls in on the wheelchair and he's got his leg all up and then he rips off the blanket and he stands up and everyone's like, oh, shit.
He wasn't hurt at all. He was doing the FDR look and he was ready to fight, man.
But I'm not going to lie. When the lineups came out for this game, I was a little nervous.
Yeah, Kyrie was in there for Johnny Russell. We know Johnny's been fighting that groin injury supposedly, but Peter said leg.
Said he was a little sore. Yeah, just a little bit, and tired legs. I get it.
Was he on the bench though?
He was on the bench.
Yeah,
he was available. Could have played. Didn't need him, which is awesome. If you would have told me, Johnny Russell's not going to be needed in sporting case you're going to have a multi-goal victory, I would have been like, obviously Logan Ndembe is the one who's out there scoring bangers then.
That's what I thought. I was like, Logan Ndembe is going to rock one, and then all these goals are going to be from outside the box. It just makes sense.
Right, exactly. But, it was a little nerve-wracking. Kyrie Shelton in there. Eric Tommy went to the bench instead of starting, but this is what's great about having the depth in the midfield that Sporting KC has is Eric Tommy goes down to the bench, designated player. Gotti Kinda steps up, designated player. You don't really lose much quality. They're different kinds of players, but they're both creative attacking pieces. So
what were you thinking when he got that early yellow, though? I was like, I don't like that.
Oh, I was mad. I was mad, and not at Ted Uncle, because Uncle missed a couple things. But you know what? It was fine.
I mean, he sucks for everyone. Like, they all suck in some way. So St. Louis is just getting a taste of a sucky ref. It's like, welcome to the league, idiots.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Tim Barker literally tackled Daniel Shallowy and rolled him over.
He bowled him. Like, what the hell was that? And I got to say, this hoodie is not City Red, by the way. I know you said that. We're not going to say it's City Red because City Red, listen, Jimmy, it's hot pink. It is pink adjacent. How do you call that red? There's like Real Salt Lake, that's red. And then there's Miami, which is pink.
What? Claret, Cobalt, Claret,
sure.
One of those two. I don't know which one it is.
It's closer to Miami than it is to RSL, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think my colors messed up on my TV. That's pretty weird.
St. Louis's colors are very bright.
And now, don't get me wrong, I fucking love it. If I was a fan of it, I'd wear the shit out of it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, how are you calling it red? It's hot pink.
Yeah, it's much closer to pink, I would say, than red. Yeah. But this was going to be a tough game. We knew Berkey stands on his head. He's a great goalkeeper, except when he gets the penalty kicks. He kind of sucks apparently, which is good.
Not good enough.
Good to have in the back of our mind. But this game started, and it started off relatively evenly. I mean, San Jose was owning a lot of the possession, but they were not getting any clear attacking chances. Sporting KC started, quite honestly, similar to how they started last time we played at City Park, where it was going toe-to-toe with these guys.
Yeah,
so,
in it, man. It was the... I got to tell you, I sold us short here. I thought, hey, you know what? Let's go. We're on the road. This is going to suck. All right. And now it's freezing rain. Wonderful. 35-degree freezing rain. Wonderful. Mm-hmm. Let's tie this game and take it to PKs. That's where I was.
I was heading into this game. I was like, if we can get this to penalties, I'll feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in penalties.
But don't play for penalties.
No.
Play your game.
100%.
And boy, did we ever play the game. You got Kyrie Sheldon in the fucking game. I couldn't believe it. That man was beasting people, dude. He was bodying them.
And he was getting fouls called, which is unusual.
Getting little assists with his shoulder that everyone was like, that's a handball. They even reviewed it. It wasn't a handball, so suck it.
I will say, about like 3 or 4 minutes before Ndenbe fired off his first shot, I was getting a little frustrated with Sporting KC in the attack because they were creating, they were setting up decent chances, I should say, but everybody seemed hesitant to actually pull the trigger on the final shot. They kept looking for the perfect lane, and whether it was Polito or Kinda or Shallowy, they all were taking what I felt like was one too many passes. And I was like, somebody's got to shoot. We're not going to score if we don't shoot. Somebody's got to shoot. You're not going to get a perfect lane. Just somebody fire the ball and see what happens. And it was Logan.
They all did. 4 different people did.
Then they listened to me. They read my tweet, and they're like, you know what? He's right. We need to start shooting more. Peter read it to the bench, and he goes, hey, Jimmy says you got to shoot more. They go, okay, I'm going to shoot more.
And Polito was like, I will not.
And so Logan and Denbe, Polito gets the assist on this one. He comes crashing forward on the left from outside the box. Polito lays it off to him, and nobody steps up. And so Ndenbe...
How would you? He doesn't do this.
He hasn't scored. And Ndenbe in cold weather with rain pouring down goes, guess I'm going to take my shot. Yeah. And boy, did he ever. That was a laser from distance to beat Berkey. And boy, was that a hell of a way to open your MLS scoring account.
Jimmy, if you're a man who stays under the basket and only gets little lay-ins and all that, I'm not going to come out and guard you when you're shooting a 3 from the corner. I'm not coming out there.
It's going to dare me.
Go ahead, take that shot. And Logan Ndenbe goes, bet. And he did it, bro.
Right off the left foot, laser into the inside side netting, past Berkey. That's one of those shots, if you're a defender, I mean, you just got to tip your hat. I mean, a guy who hasn't scored in the league before fires one off that way and just rips that off in the biggest game of his MLS career. Okay.
Well, and Peter said Berkey is the best goalkeeper, obviously. Goalkeeper
probably going to
win. Going to win that. And, but Sporting had the shots. They made these spectacular shots. There were no errors here. No defenders messed up. Sporting generated some pretty solid shots to test their all-star goalkeeper.
We were moving the ball around pretty well. Sporting was moving the ball, and they were smart. They let St. Louis have possession.
It was a symphony. It just felt like orchestrated. It was amazing.
They let St. Louis have possession, which St. Louis does not like to do. They do not like to be a possession-based team. And for all those people, look, there are criticisms and critiques to be had of Peter Vermees and some of the ways that sometimes he's rigid in his style. But if you want to talk about somebody who looked at a game plan, and switched up everything he normally does, sure, he went out there in a 4-3-3. But what is Sporting KC known for? They're a possession-based team. They pass the ball around. They're going to shoot you to death, etc. No. This game, he said, St. Louis wants us to possess the ball, and they want to come strike quick off the counter. Let's just let them have the ball. We'll press them. We'll make them work for it. But they can have the ball 60% of the time because they don't know what to do with it. And it worked.
Yes.
100%.
Very much worked. Dude, we just didn't let them do much.
No. Their one goal came, unfortunately, a minute after Logan and Denbe scored his. And I got a little depressed here. Because set pieces. We knew set pieces were an issue. And it wasn't even honestly that poorly of a defended set piece. They send it in. It's sort of, Polito tries to clear it. It kind of bounces around. And Tim Parker, opportunistic, good for him, just kind of gets on the end of it before it gets cleared and sends it past Amelia. And now we're back to 1-1 in the 28th minute. And I wasn't feeling great.
Tim Parker is buff Jimmy Mack.
I'll take it.
I said it last night, and Marissa's like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, he's not wrong. Holding it down for the Redheads, I guess.
Holding it down.
It was a little bit of a bummer because it bounced off Polito's chest, fell right to Parker. Polito didn't have time to react, and Parker, I guess if you're going to complain, somebody should have been running with Parker. He shouldn't have been that free.
Yeah.
Amelia didn't have a chance to do anything. So now we're back to 1-1, 28th minute. Because what I was thinking when we were up 1-0, I was like, okay, obviously it's not going to end 1-0. But if we hold on to this for long enough, even if they get a late equalizer, at least we get it to penalties. They scored a minute later, and I was like, shit, it might as well be 0-0 again. They have all the momentum.
Yeah, Peter praised them for, not getting down, because we very much could have gotten down after that tying goal.
Yeah.
And it could have been, a bad time from there on out, but it wasn't. It wasn't. We kept going, dude.
Yeah. And I was worried because I was worried with them having all the momentum after that goal. Sporting KC at times this year have been known to sort of fold under pressure. Like, oh, shoot, we gave up a goal. Is this going to be the floodgates of St. Louis opening where they're going to get 2, 3, 4 goals? And it wasn't, thankfully, because it took, 4 or 5 minutes later. And now Remy Voltaire saw Logan and Denbe from distance, and he was like, no, I gotta have my chance. And we had a number of chances here. Gadi Kinda, I think, had 2 chances that Berkey was somehow able to save, and the ball's bouncing around. And then Remy Voltaire gets the ball near the top of the box, and he goes, I'm just going to fire one in now and see what happens. And he sends it past Berkey. Now we're back to 2-1 a mere 7 minutes after Tim Parker put St. Louis back on equal footing with SKC. And I was just losing my mind.
It's outstanding, dude. It's outstanding. I kept saying, Polito, you want in on the action? Do you want to play our goal scorer? Do you want to do it? You know what that reminds me of? Remember Avengers Infinity War?
Yep.
When Tony says to Bruce Banner, he's like, Bruce, you want a piece? And he's like, nah. And he's like, all right,
I'm good.
And then he goes, he does and does it. It's like Allen ain't stepping up anywhere.
Right. So it was just, it was, I don't know. He wasn't needed really, I guess, at that point. He was facilitating, which is fine.
He's pulling. He's doing that thing. It's almost a false nine. He's pulling people in. They're guarding him like crazy, and they're opening up people like Logan and Denbe, our left back. Seth Sinovic much? Anybody? And, Remy Voltaire.
Sinovic.
Just people that don't score stunners.
Yep.
Scored stunners last night.
Absolutely. It was pretty incredible. And so we're up 2-1. You think, just get to the half up 2-1, keep that 1-goal lead into the second half. Again,
easy.
If they get a late equalizer, at least it's going to penalties. No. We had different plans. This is where the handball that wasn't a handball, and I've looked at this from a number of different angles. It seems to me the correct call that they made on the field, which was no handball, bounces off Kyrie's shoulder. It kind of bounces sideways, which is, I think, why from the camera angle that people see, they're like, oh, it's clearly a handball, because it kind of bounces in front of his bicep, but it doesn't touch it. And then it just falls to Gadi Kinda, who some fancy footwork, and this dude just picks it out from distance, curls it right through a number of St. Louis defenders, and then past Berkey. 3-1 headed into halftime.
Outstanding. I was thinking I would like accidentally fall asleep during a shitty game. I was like, this could suck. It's been a day. I'm pretty sleepy, but there's no way I was falling asleep, man. I was jacked up.
No. This was some like Leo Messi type scoring that Gadi Kinda did, dribbling through a bunch of defenders. There's like, you might heard
is he in the playoffs?
Ballon d'Or. Well, if you go to freaking MLSsoccer.com, you wouldn't know the playoffs are going on right now because it's Leo Messi, Ballon d'Or winner.
MLS player wins Ballon d'Or.
You actively, not for anything he did while he was with the league. You actively have playoffs going on at the moment, and you're not highlighting them on your homepage. But
look, I love when these St. Louis fans, by the way, booed the VAR decisions. And it's like, will you stop? Is this your first time? They do their review. They look it over. What are you even booing? You're seeing it. Like, what are you seeing that they're not?
Even Andrew Wiebe, who he's been, what some would say, anti-sporting KC in some of his decisions as of late.
He's forced to be. I feel like he's peer pressured by everyone else around him. Yes.
Don Garber standing right off camera saying, "Don't you dare say something good about Kansas City."
all the people and guys and gals he's with, they give him shit for being a sporting Kansas City homer.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Come on, you can be.
Well, he was saying it's not a handball. Taylor Twellman was saying, from what I'm looking on here, there's nothing that's going to turn this over. This is not a handball.
And that's what it has to be, clear and indisputable to overturn it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a call made on the field. Now show me something that changes that call.
Right, exactly. And they couldn't. So 3-1 at the half. I'm feeling good, but I'm still nervous as hell.
No, okay, I'm not feeling good because they have scored 4 goals in 12 minutes on our bitch ass. They did that. We were there. We were there, and it was the worst time. I was just like sad to exist as a fan.
Yeah,
it's just. But I was not gonna feel safe until there was like 5 minutes left, and we're up by like 3 or something. You know.
Yeah. The good news was, they scored 4 goals real fast on us, but the different game state. Like they get the first goal, then we have to open up to try to get an equalizer. They capitalize, then we kind of just collapsed. Us being up by 2 goals, I was by no means comfortable. I was like, it would be real nice to get another goal here and have a 3-goal cushion instead of 2, because then they have to score 4 goals at that point to put us out. They have to get 3 goals to at least just send it to penalties. And again, I'm feeling pretty decent if we go penalties. We get back into the second half. Things leveled out a little bit, but 61st minute, Daniel Shallowy, this time we're coming off the set piece, which is unusual for Sporting KC. We're not getting many set piece opportunities. Gadi Kinda sends the ball in. It's flicked on by Alan Polito, I believe, again. Just a gorgeous flick. Daniel Shallowy's there, perfectly waiting, back post, 4-1.
Look, there are 2 things you can count on, always. Sporting, never saying die. You know, always staying in and fighting. And St. Louis fans sticking around till the end to cheer on their team.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that second one, I don't think that happened. I'm pretty sure a lot of people left. I was mistaken. So just Sporting will fight, and St. Louis fans are fake. I said it.
They left. Well, I believe me. I said it on my Twitter timeline.
But it was cold out here. I didn't have a heavy coat.
So this game ends 4-1. Sporting KC absolutely dominate St. Louis City SC on the score sheet.
Outrageous.
They could have scored 5 or 6 goals, honestly. There were some, like Berkey had one bounce right off his chest at point blank that he had a little lucky on. Daniel Shallowy.
Daniel kicked it right at him.
Kicked it right at him, yeah. And then there was another goal, I think, where Gadi Kinda took one too many touches, and he was right near the penalty spot, could have scored it. This was a pretty wild game. And you knew Peter was in a good mood after the game because during the post-game press conference, he made fun of both Daniel Sperry and Chad Smith.
He did. That was wonderful. I always love to see that, you know, but Dude, it said it was 42 degrees and rainy.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to point that out. That's not freezing. So if someone's like, we had to leave because it was freezing rain, that's not freezing rain. That's just rain.
Yeah. It was 4-1. And a number of people pointed this out. St. Louis seems to have mismanaged how they actually played at the end of this game because goal differential does not carry over. It doesn't matter if you lose 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 100-1. It's the same result. It's a loss.
Yeah.
So once you go down 1 or 2 goals and it's late in the game, you might as well just start throwing numbers forward and you might as well pull the keeper and just try to get something.
Making some subs.
Just do something. Try. Because it doesn't goal differential doesn't matter.
Do something.
Try. Do something. But man, look.
Are they on a losing streak, by the way, St. Louis? Didn't they lose like before decision day and then they lost on decision day and now they lost here?
I think they've lost 3 games in a row.
That's wonderful. They very much, you guys, oh my God, they might never win a playoff game this year.
I thought you were going to say they might never win again.
No.
Yeah, their last victory, unfortunately, was beating us 4-1 at home back in end of September.
We said this, dude. We were like, I don't even care about MLS Cup, really. Like, this means more to me than that, if I'm being honest, because our buddy Chris put this perfectly, buddy. We're playing with house money. Mm-hmm. We're not, to quote Clerks, we're not even supposed to be here. Okay? People counted us out in May, bro. We're not supposed to be here.
And it's funny because it's almost the opposite, because for a long time, people said St. Louis was the one playing with house money. They were the expansion team that people picked to finish 13th in the West, and then they win their first 5 games, and we're just so happy to be here. They're doing so well, Then that house money turned into expectations because you have MLS pundits like Jillian Sakovits out there saying that St. Louis City's going to win MLS Cup because they've been doing it all season long. Why stop now?
Jillian loves her some St. Louis, though. So
if you look at St. Louis over the last couple months of the year, they got 2 wins in September and October. They have not been the same team since Leagues Cup ended that they were before Leagues Cup. So this is, over their last 3 games, including the playoff game against us, they've lost all 3 of those games by a combined 9-1. Whew. This team is not what it was at the beginning of the year. Or they're exactly who they were at the beginning of the year. And I kept telling people they're outperforming their advanced metrics. This is going to catch up to them. You can't keep scoring goals because defenders pass you the ball deep in their own territory. That's going to stop eventually.
We can't. It's fun to have a little schadenfreude. That's my favorite word. It's the word of the year. Mm-hmm. But we can't overlook what they're going to bring to town this week.
It's going to be hard. Very nervous.
Dude, it's going to get violent. Okay?
It might be on the field.
Maybe both. It might be a bloodbath, bro. I highly expect to kick someone out of my seats, which I'm looking very much forward to because
you're like South Stand adjacent, right?
Sometimes people think that's part of the South Stand. Mm-hmm. So when it's someone like St. Louis supporters who I don't really like, I wait till the last minute, kick you out of my seats, and now you have nowhere to go. Now you're standing room only. Welcome to Kansas City. Have a safe trip.
At least I'll get a better view of Nebraska Furniture Mart from the concourse.
There you go. You want to make fun of us about furniture? Go get you some furniture. Move along. My favorite is when they're like, nah, this is our seats. And I'm like, there you are, bitch. Like, what do you want me to say?
My ticket said that this is mine. And they're planning to buy up the South Stand. You can see on social, that's what they're doing. They're saying we're going to turn Children's Mercy Park red. Or
it'll be dope.
Outlet ball
out last time. My watch did not like how loud it got last time they came. It was bad, bro.
No, they're out there. They're a passionate fan base, except for when their team's losing, and apparently it's a little too cold outside. And they were like,
to be louder.
I did enjoy the person who was in my mentions, like, well, it's cold, And I was like, oh, was it cold? Let me explain something to you called the 2013 MLS Cup, where it was like literally 12 degrees.
What do you mean? But you stay, dude. It's your team's first playoff game.
Right. That's the thing.
And you left. Now, people leave when you're getting your ass kicked. They do. And that's okay. I'm not even going to dispute it. I don't leave. But I've seen people leave. I've seen people leave sporting. It happens. Mm-hmm. But this just feels, it's your team's first year, and it's your first playoff game.
Right.
We're going to have beautiful weather this Sunday.
It's going to be great. And hopefully Johnny will be back. We might be able to see Eric Tommy be back in the starting lineup. This is
fine if not. Clearly.
I mean, Gotti looked great. Peter did have an interesting comment. He was like, yeah, God, with everything going on, back in his home in Israel and the terrible things that are happening in that region just all around.
Where do you think his head is at? He's fighting for that. He wants to bust his ass for that.
His mind is elsewhere. And Peter said that this was the first game that he thought he was right. So, and take that for what you will. And so this is going to be really interesting because I don't want to say that this is do or die for Sporting KC on Sunday.
This is an opportunity.
This is an opportunity to close it out, with relatively little risk involved because, all things considered, because it's impossible for you to get eliminated on Sunday.
Pressure's not on us.
Pressure's not on us. Pressure is on St. Louis City without question because they lose on Children's Mercy Park. They're going home. Their season's done. Not only that, you got blanked 2-0 by your rival that you've been talking all that shit to. And you said, we won the regular season series 2-1. Sporting KC wins on Sunday. We win the overall 2023 series 3-2, and we won the 2 most important ones.
And we send you into the off season. Have a good time with all those multiple drafts we have.
So this will be, but I do think Sporting KC, as much as we just enjoyed the performance at City Park and as well as we played, we do not want to go back there 6 days later.
It ain't done. This is going to be a fight. Sporting's not going to sit back, though. Absolutely not. Like, we're going to play our game. We're not going to muck it up. We could. We have every right in our team to muck it up.
Yeah.
Like, we could try to take it to penalties,
Scoring first and scoring early will be crucial for this game. You do not want to leave St. Louis around to hang and steal one on the counter. I don't think it'll probably be the same game plan on Sunday. I don't think Sporting are going to just sit back. I think they're going to press, and they're going to press hard. This is their home
field advantage, man. We got to have that 12th man in the stands.
You got to show up. Do not let St. Louis take over that stadium. I don't think they will. I think they're talking a big game, but I don't think they will.
They could. There was a lot of them in the South Stand last night.
And there will be a lot of them.
But how do you fix that other than getting there early to claim your South Stand seat?
And also don't sell your seat.
Yeah, don't sell it.
Don't buy it just to resell it online and make a buck. If you bought a ticket, they can't tell you what to do, but show up, please. Let's go.
Tough.
Cheer this on. This is going to be historic. If
this is the final home game.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. We will not get another one in the playoffs if we advance. We're done.
No, even if we make it all the way to MLS Cup, it's not happening.
Everything's on the road, which you just proved. The road don't faze you. The road don't bother you one bit.
Again, Sporting KC, heavy betting favorite. It's like -145 for Sporting KC to win, +300 for a draw, +330 for St. Louis to win or something. Again, doesn't mean much. Don't bet on MLS. It's too much of a crapshoot.
Aggregate, don't you?
There's a lot of people that actually have complaints about that. Dude, this is a very weird format. I don't love it. If you look at Andrew Wiebe, he's defending it by saying, well, no Sporting have a chance to send them home without any fear of getting eliminated. Sure. I do think it's weird. I think it's very weird that we can win this game 4-1 or win the first game 4-1 and then potentially lose 2 scoreless draws on penalties and we're the ones that get eliminated. That's strange to me, but the opportunity's in front of you. They cannot let it go.
You know why they did this, though. It's so every single team in the playoffs gets a home game. At least one.
Yes.
Well,
if you did a 2-game aggregate series, then again, you still get a home game.
Yeah.
So, but it is what it is. I think Polito's got to show up on the score sheet more than he did this last game if we're going to win. I think Johnny Russell has to have a big game. But let me take a moment. I know you had something to say, but let me just take a moment. Let me give a moment of appreciation for Jake Davis.
Oh, my gosh.
That dude man busting his ass.
He's crazy, dude. He's doing exactly what our right backs need to be doing.
He has learned that position so well.
Let me blow your mind. Jake Davis is a midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
People listening right now might not know that because you've never really seen him play midfield.
Correct.
Try to imagine him in the midfield right now. Not as fun.
No, and
it's not as fun.
And I'm sorry, Graham, but Jake's the captain now. He's taking that position, and it's his going into 2024.
I think Graham's fine with it. I mean, I think he's really taken on a teacher role.
Probably.
Here's the thing. Should we win this Sunday, we get 2 weeks off. I mean,
true.
Dude, there's a week in between the first round and the conference semis. But if you win this week, you don't have to play next week, so you get 2 weeks off.
Get healthy, get right.
I like that, but then there's also that argument about, well, you like staying in form, you like playing those weekly games, like, you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because then there's the international break. The U.S. men's national team is playing, and it's not until closer toward the middle to end of November that they'd come back for the conference semis. So, and then it's back to a one-off game. This is the only best of 3 series in the entire playoff structure. So it's time, man. Go out there, get this win on Sunday. Polito's got to show up. Johnny's got to show up. Jake's got to lock them down the same way that he did. I think they're going to St. Louis is going to change up their strategy a little bit. Klaus was not really involved very much in this last game. So we'll see. But if Andreu Fontas and Danny Rosero play the way they've been playing recently, which has been very solid, if Tim stays in form, I mean, even Taylor was like, because St. Louis had a chance to pull one back. It would have been meaningless on the score sheet, really, but pull one back late in the game. And Taylor was losing his mind, and he was like, you have no idea how important that save is, because it shows that Team Melia is still in form.
That's weird to say at that point in the game, Taylor, but his voice gets me excited. So there's that.
So I don't know. We'll see. I'm super pumped. I hope we can pull this off for the Vance, for advancing, for just because I don't want to go back to St. Louis on Saturday and have all the momentum back in their side.
Agreed, man. Agreed. I do not want to go back up there. Well, God, that would suck.
Yeah. So let's just finish it on Sunday. What do you say?
That's the plan. I think everyone wants to do that, man. Let's get that done.
Yeah. So the only other thing I wanted to mention real quick is shout out to Alan Polito. He's a finalist for MLS Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah.
So, which I think is pretty deserved.
Pretty earned nomination coming off not playing last year because of a surgery. So
because of an injury and missing the first, couple of months almost of the season. So
yeah. Excited.
Shout out to him. So probably the biggest award that an MLS player has, been named as a finalist for in the last day or so.
Yeah, I mean, you think? Wait, what do you say? Oh,
I was just making fun of
Leo Messi. Melia won Comeback Player of the Year one time.
He did.
What? And wasn't that because he came off of he was a pool goalkeeper?
He was a pool goalkeeper because nobody knows what Comeback Player of the Year means.
Right, like he was a nobody, and that's basically what they're saying, right? He was a nobody,
being bad.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
But
oh well,
yeah, man.
Was that? So, I just saw something, by the way. It wasn't Tim Parker's first goal. Oh, never mind. They're counting playoff goals. Never mind.
Yeah. So, hey, man, we'll see. So there's still MLS playoffs that are happening all this week in this round before we get to our next game. It's kind of weird. So.
Yeah, every damn day there's playoff games, man. I think MLS's Extra Time podcast, they usually release on Mondays, but they're holding off because there's a game Monday, a game Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see. But it's an exciting time to be a sporting fan, man. If you don't love this, you don't love sports.
Get hyped. This is crazy. I had a buddy last night, by the way, who I haven't talked to in a long time.
Yeah.
He knows I'm into this. He knows I do a podcast, and he starts asking me questions about the playoff format. And I was like, first of all, hello. Hello, man. It's been a bit.
Yeah.
And then we just texted throughout the whole game. I was like, that was kind of dope.
That's awesome. Sporting, bringing people together. Look at this.
There you go.
Look at us.
Let's get out there. Let's get out there and get crazy Sunday, man.
Yes, sir. So make sure you show up, show out. Let's be loud. Let's beat St. Louis on Sunday. Let's do it again. Woo. 3 playoff wins in a row. How about it?
Ooh, boy.
Thank you all so much for listening. This is what it's all about. This is what we did this all year for, to get to the playoffs and be able to have a chance to eliminate our brand new rival from this. So thank you for listening. Make sure you leave that 5-star rating and review for us. We'll read them on air if you do. We appreciate it. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at NoOtherPod, at Dan Kooser, at JCMac03. Shoot us an email, nootherpod@gmail.com. And check us out on YouTube, KCSN Soccer, or through the Kansas City Sports Network app. But until next time, he's Dan. I'm Jimmy. We'll catch y'all later. See ya.
Polito's scoring Sunday.